To up your style game, check out hypelitstore.com to find some of the latest trendy designs with the Space Galaxy hoodie, Oreo joggers, or vintage Rick t-shirt, among many others. Once again at hypelitstore.com. Hi there everyone. Today we are here to look at 10 things the Pawn Stars don't want you to know. The incredibly successful reality show gives us an inside look at what it's like to run a pawn shop. Making it more exciting than the average pawn shop is the rare artifacts and various collectibles that come into the world-famous gold and silver pawn shop. Experts are brought in to help to tell the interesting history of the items, and then we as viewers also get to see the deals go down, or perhaps not due to disagreements in price to sell or pawn an item. Right before getting into everything, if you could please like this video, that would be very much so appreciated. Without further ado, let's get into this list. Item valuations are liberal. By liberal, I mean that they are very much so on the high end of what they are actually worth, what they could be worth. This is done intentionally to create more conflict between the seller and whoever is working. This secret came from one of the show producers themselves. It was leaked by them. The way this works is the experts are hired by the show producers. I'll talk more about this fact later in the video, but of the experts that are brought in, they are the ones that are willing to evaluate an item for much higher than some others, and much more higher than the item is likely actually worth and to be sold for. As I mentioned, this is to create more drama, to keep everything much more interesting. Chumlee has damaged expensive pawned items. Chumlee, the only non-family member of the main cast, has sometimes in the past made some serious mistakes handling pawned items. Although ultimately things were alright in the end, I'm not sure he'd still have a job if it had not been for the lifelong friendship he's had with Corey, aka Big Hoss. For this particular incident, it took place right before the series started production, meaning unfortunately it was not caught on camera. Anyways, to lay everything out, an expensive guitar was brought into the shop, not to be sold, but to be pawned. If you don't know what the difference is, pawning an item is like taking a loan from a bank, except instead at a pawn shop, you give them something you own as direct collateral. Then they give you the money, much less than the full worth if the item were to be sold to the pawn shop. So let's say in the situation you pawn something worth $1,000, you may get $100 loaned. Once you return to the shop, you need to pay off the money loaned and typically some more fees, and then you get your item back. Someone brought in a guitar worth $20,000. It was pawned, and the owner was given $700. The guitar owner came back sometime in the future to return the loan money and get his guitar back. However, Chumlee had accidentally broken the bass guitar, and instead of telling anyone in the store about it, like Rick, he probably should have talked to, he placed the broken bass guitar back into its case and didn't mention it. When the owner returned to get his bass, Rick opened the case to his surprise that it was destroyed. Due to this incident, the shop had to pay out the full $20,000 to make up for the lost damages, and keep in mind, this was before the show began, so they weren't nearly as successful as they are today, so I'm sure it was a much bigger loss back then for them. Weight loss wasn't natural. Corey Big Hoss, over the course of the series, has lost just under 200 pounds since the show first started, which is seriously impressive, and I want to make that clear, I'm not at all hating on him with what I'm about to say. Many viewers have looked up to Corey's transformation, perhaps inspiring some people to finally make a change in their own lives and work towards leading a much more healthy lifestyle. What isn't widely known is that Corey did not lose his weight with pure dedication and sheer will. Instead, he underwent lap band surgery, which heavily aids in losing weight rapidly. It essentially creates willpower that he did not have naturally. Corey said this in an interview. I literally drove straight from the doctors to the lap band center and had the surgery almost immediately. Back then, the surgery was too expensive for my bank account, so I had to pay with 4 credit cards, but it was something I had to do. I was not going to get diabetes. Once again, I'm not discrediting him, but he did have some major help with that surgery. Pawn Plaza is failing. With the success of the show, Rick decided to open up a 2-story shopping center right next to the pawn shop. The shopping center has a few stores of different varieties, and when the project was getting started, the store owner tenants were promised that they would receive 100,000 to 150,000 customers a month. That has not been the case at all, however. One of the tenants said that they are lucky to receive 30 or 40 customers a day, which is much more close to 1,000 customers a month instead of 100,000. 5 of the stores had to close down just in the first year of opening, and things really haven't picked up then, which was at the end of 2016. The mall still is open to this day, but it may not be around for too much longer. People want to see the Harrison family in Chumlee. They'll just go straight to the store, the actual pawn shop, and hope that they're there and see where everything is filmed instead of going to some shopping center that's just right by, but it has nothing to do with the show really, and they're probably not going to see Rick or anyone else at the actual mall. Personal assistants. This one is more so interesting than controversial. Corey and Chumlee both have personal assistants, as they are quite busy men. They film the show a couple of times a year, but on top of that, they have some time-consuming hobbies. For example, Corey often competes in desert racing. To help free time, they've hired someone to handle the daily life chores, whether it be cleaning, emailing for business, getting coffee, or whatever else may be needed. Subway. Frequently seen on the show is the guys eating Subway sandwiches. Are they just big fans of the subs? Well, maybe, but it's no accident that they are often seen eating from the chain fast food place. If you pay attention, or I suppose you don't really have to, but the wrappers of the subs are always prominently displayed when they are eating them. This is because Subway has a long-running deal with the show. They are a main sponsor, meaning they pay for constant product placement in the show. It's a common method of advertising, even while the show is taking place. With all this said, I have to assume that the guys at least enjoy Subway, as having to mainly eat only that while the cameras are on, and not liking it, seems like it just wouldn't be the case. Melted coin collection. A messy situation to say the least. A woman named Jennifer Beckham sold a coin collection to the store over the course of a few visits, resulting in around $30,000 worth of coins sold to the shop. The gold and silver pawn shop sold most of the coins shortly after. Some also went missing, and they melted down the rest to scrap. The problem is that Jennifer Beckham was not the true owner of the coins. It was her uncle who would later try to reclaim his stolen belongings. He came to the store, and it just wasn't possible. As I mentioned, once again, some of the coins have been melted, lost, and most of them have been sold to various buyers. They were scattered everywhere. As the situation had not been reported to law enforcement, and the store hadn't heard anything from the police at all prior, this resulted in no need to preserve the money made from the stolen coins, and they had no clue that they were stolen, meaning that the true owner ended up not being able to get his coins back nor any money. Corey arrested bar fight. A few years ago, not long after the show became a massive success, the Harrisons and Chumlee were introduced to a new lifestyle, accompanied by millions of dollars. Big Hoss, being the youngest of the four, may have let some of the newfound fame get to his head. At a bar, he and another customer got into an argument. To try to calm down the situation, a deputy and security guard approached the two. In response, during the altercation, Corey, Big Hoss, shoved the deputy and the guard. He was sent to the Big Bear Lake jail in California for investigation of battery and resisting arrest after the incident. He was held in a drunk tank for a couple of hours to sober up and then was later released. It seems that the guys tend to get into some occasional legal trouble. Cass doesn't work at store. Part of why things are set up in advance is that they don't film year-round. There is a set filming schedule. Now 15 seasons in, over the span of nearly 9 years, the show is incredibly well known, and the main 4 cast members, Rick Harrison, Richard Old Man Harrison, Corey Big Hoss Harrison, and Chumlee and Austin Chumlee Russell are very frequently recognized, especially in the city of Las Vegas where their store is, and they also live. I'm saying all of this because they no longer need to actually work at the pawn shop. They come in to film episodes, but besides that, they'd never work any true shifts. This is for a couple reasons. Due to the success of the show, they are all wealthy at this point and have no financial need to work regular shifts. Secondly, when they appear in the store, it is guaranteed to disrupt the actual business happening, as it still is a legitimate pawn shop when they're not filming. They actually have an entire section of the store dedicated to merchandise of the store/show. They also will set up a place to take photos and sign autographs with fans when they visit, so your chances of appearing on the show by coming in someday is not going to happen at this point. Unfortunately, once again, there is actual business happening on the show, but everything is heavily vetted to ensure it's truly entertaining, once again tying back into the whole idea of the schedule. Expert friends. This part of the show, in my opinion, it kind of falls more so on lying, as experts who come in to evaluate the items and tell us why they are worth what they are portrayed to be personal friends of the main cast. While this may be the case sometimes, it's been reported that these experts are more often than not hired by the show producers and writers. They are experts, just not necessarily friends, at least originally with the main guys. At this point, some of the experts make multiple appearances, perhaps they have created a friendship with the cast, but after the fact instead of before. Once again, for the most part. There have been some legitimate longtime friends who are experts on certain subjects coming to evaluate artifacts, but yeah, just not typically. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Once again, please like this video if you haven't already, and comment anything that you learned down below in the comment section. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.